Hello everybody. Today's lab we're going to be talking about observation and the skills of observation. So for a scientist it is very important for you to hone in and develop the skills to observe. And the point is to observe without making any conclusions or inferences. So observations are really just the facts, Jack. Okay? It is what do you see, color, size, shape. What do you smell? Now, describing smells can be very difficult. You can say it smells like something that's familiar. There are some adjectives you can use, that it's a pungent smell, or it's an acidic smell, or it's a smoky smell. So be careful, be thoughtful in the adjectives you use to describe smell. What do you feel? Now, obviously, we're working with a burning candle. We're not going to be touching the flame. But we can bring our hand close to the flame and figure out, oh, well, how far away does it feel warm? Okay, what is being given off? What do you feel in the general area? What do you hear? And then what do you taste? Now, taste, obviously, we are not tasting anything in the lab, but there would be times, like if you're in culinary, and if you're in culinary school, you are thinking about taste, and you are thinking about the observations with taste. So the point today is we are going to be making very good scientific observations just on what we see, hear, smell, and feel. Okay? Now, first part that we're going to do, so here's all of our equipment. We have an Erlenmeyer flask, we have a beaker, we have some scissors, we have a wire gauze, we have some candles, we have matches, and we have a small piece of aluminum foil, and then we have a pan. Okay, the fact that the pan is all dirty, it really doesn't matter. This is just what we're going to be carrying everything out in. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your candle. Now you'll be given wood matches, or if I'm using this other years, you might have paper matches. You're going to take the match, you're just going to push and drag it quickly along the striker plate. You're going to light your candle. Blow out the match, and the match can go directly on the wire gauze. You're going to hold the candle over the dish, get a couple drops of wax, and then you're going to stand the candle in the wax. You and your partner are now going to make observations. Level 1 in honors, you have to make 20 observations. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? Okay, 20 unique observations. It's a silent activity. You are not doing the same observations. For level 2 and 3, you're doing less. I think it's 10 or 12 observations you're making. Okay, that's the first part. If it burns all the way down and you need to light a second candle, go for it. Then what you're going to be doing is little mini experiments. And be very careful with the mini experiments with your observations, because those observations are going to be used to answer questions. So the first mini experiment, you're going to light the second candle. You're going to blow the first candle out. Oh, I blew both of them out. That happens. So we have to light the second candle. And this you have to do relatively quickly. You're going to blow this candle out and then quickly bring the other candle into the smoke of the first candle. Okay, do this a couple times. Be very specific in your observations, because it's going to lead you to a correct answer in the answers. Blow it out, bring the other candle close, and write what you see. If all you put is the second candle or the standing candle relights, that's wrong. There has to be something very specific about the second candle. Okay? Part 2. Okay, you're going to take another candle that's not standing, and you're going to take the piece of aluminum foil. Okay, this one, the observations, it's really not all that exciting. I think the directions say to take the aluminum foil, put a pencil point through it, and stick the wick through. I find it's easier if you kind of do a slit. You take the wick, you put the wick sort of in the slit, and then you wrap the aluminum foil around the candle, so that you want the aluminum foil, let's see if I can get a good, wrapped around the candle so only the wick is out. You are then going to light the candle, just hold the candle It's not going to be anything all that amazing. Put down your observations. Okay? That's the second mini experiment. The third mini experiment. You light the standing candle. And then you're going to take a beaker. You're going to hold it over the candle, but not all the way down. You want to hold it over the candle so that the candle is about in the middle of the beaker. Okay? And then you're going to make your observation. If you put the candle goes out, if you put the top goes black, that's wrong. Okay? So you're going to take the beaker. You hold the beaker down so that the candle, I said in the middle of the flame should probably only be about an inch or so above the top of the beaker, okay? The next mini experiment is, I went out of order. The beaker is number 6. We have to do number 5. All right, the fifth one, this is a wire gauze, and you're purposely using wire gauze that is kind of older and gross. You are not going to use this part here. You are going to use this part here, okay? You're going to take it and you're going to push it down on top and see what happens. And you want to push it down. Basically, do not let the flame go out, but you're going to push it down on top of the flame. Make your observations. And then the final experiment that you're going to do is you're going to take your beaker, you're going to fill the beaker with water, you're going to put the beaker in the pan, and then you're going to take and you might need a little bit more water than that. You're going to take your Erlenmeyer, you're going to put it down on top of the candle, and then you're going to stand the Erlenmeyer on top of the candle, and then you're going to make your observation. Okay? So those are your little mini experiments. Now when you go to answer the questions, you need to reference those experiments. Those are the observations you need to answer the questions. So for example, the first question, do your results in step 3, step 3 is where we brought the second candle close to it, indicate that the wax burns as a solid, a liquid, or a gas. I think in the question it says vapor. Vapor is a fancy word for gas. Okay, you need to use the observations you made in step 3 to answer that question. Okay, there's one other question that I do want to explain. So question 2, it says Sir Humphrey Davy invented a safety lamp for miners in which a flame was surrounded by a wire gauze cylinder. So the flame was surrounded by a cylinder made out of this material here. Now you need to understand what miners went through. When miners would go into a mine, they have a danger of experiencing poisonous gases. To protect themselves from that, they would carry a canary with them. And if the canary stopped singing or if the canary keeled over and died, they would leave very quickly because canaries are very sensitive to poisonous gas. Another thing they could experience is explosive gases. So if their lamp had a candle in it, why would they care about going into a mine that potentially has explosive gases in there? Use your results from part 5, your observations, to answer that question. Okay? So you are doing observations, no inferences, and you're using those observations to answer the questions. Okay, when you are done with the experiment, you're going to take the water that was in the pan. The water can go right down the drain. If the candles are large enough to be reused, you can just leave them at your station. All your burnt matches go in the trash can, not in the sink. Your aluminum foil, throw it away, and then you're going to leave everything. Do not put stuff back in the wet pan. Just leave everything neatly at the station. And then the final thing you do is you're going to take off your goggles. Safety equipment for this lab, you do need to wear the goggles, okay, the full face goggles. You do not need to wear aprons.